Everyone everywhere is still trying to figure out what in the living happened at the Oscars. Here with his expert analysis is our very own Roy Wood Jr., everybody.
Thank you, Trevor.
Roy, welcome to the show. Real quick, though, what's going on with the outfit, man?
I dress up whenever a black movie wins Best Picture. You should have seen me after 12 Years a Slave won. Look, in order for you to understand what happened last night, you have to understand the phenomenon known as peak blackness.
I'm sorry, Roy, what the hell is peak blackness?
Trevor, peak blackness is a rare metaphysical anomaly that can only occur when an amalgam of black excellence comes together at the same societal intersection.
What the hell are you talking about?
It's when a lot of dope black happen at the same time. It's got all happen together. Going into last night, you had Black History Month, Beyonce's pregnancy with Jay's twins. Multiple black movies were nominated for Oscars, and Frederick Douglass came back to life. Trevor, we are operating at maximum levels of blacktivity that we haven't seen in decades, better known as peak blackness.
I don't want to call you out, but I'm from Africa and I've never heard of peak blackness.
That's because y'all get it all the time. Like, Africa is peak blackness. But for us, it's special. Peak blackness is the only time you can see a brother doing this.
A South Carolina protester was arrested at a demonstration in downtown Charleston. Police say the man jumped a barricade, tried to take this Confederate flag from a man.
Defying the police to fight the Confederacy while at the same time setting a high jump record? Peak blackness. And that is what happened last night. All of this blackness culminated at the Oscars. You knew Moonlight was winning because a brother from Chicago was taking selfies and touching people's trophies. These guys think their extreme training can bring even the worst of enemies together. So I tracked down two political enemies, a far-right Republican.
I voted for Donald Trump in 2016, and I will be first in line in 2020.
Codename Dan Coulter, and a fringe left-wing snowflake.
I'm into slam poetry, and I was a 2016 Hillary Clinton organizer.
Codename Pod Save America. These are real people who've never met and are both outraged at the other's political beliefs. But they've agreed to join me at Survival Systems to embark on a day of extreme team building. All right, so here's the deal. I got 6 hours and about 4 Red Bulls to get these two to find common ground. It's gonna be worse than a vegan Thanksgiving. Before the first exercise, we had to jump into the pool off this high-ass platform.
All right, folks, this is what we call the chain formation. This is for group mobility.
Our first extreme drill was all about cooperation. We had to learn how to preserve energy in the water by swimming all up in each other's junk. It's like the first aid version of the human centipede. First off, why I gotta be in the middle of the centipede? I'm wearing a suit. I should be up front. These are my church clothes. Anyway, it was time to put our bonding to the test with a serious discussion about immigration. Is the wall racist?
I think the person building it is.
He is not a racist.
So how do you feel about him calling nations shitholes?
I've been to several of them, and they are shitholes.
Okay, so we're getting nowhere. So cooperation didn't do shit but give me a rash. But the training at Survival Systems was just getting started.
This is the life raft, and once you're inside, you should be able to survive for maybe 117 days.
This exercise is about simulated isolation. Come on, it's your turn, Dan Coulter. When you're isolated in a rubber boat for months at sea, you can't squabble about political differences. So now was the chance for these two to really get to know each other. But in the end, it came back to Trump.
We know how he thinks about women.
Why don't you just let the man govern the country and quit fucking with them?
If the man was interested in governing the country, he wouldn't be talking about cocaine orgies with Boy Scouts.
Oh my God. The Compton Cowboys began in the 1980s as the Compton Junior Posse, an after-school horseback riding program at a farm in the middle of the city. The founder, Maisha Akbar, described it this way.
We were in competition with gangs, so we had to provide the same things that gangs did. Camaraderie, an extended family, a safe haven.
Maisha retired in 2017, but many members of the posse are still spreading her message and some fertilizer. All right, so basically your gang, instead of bandanas and gang signs, y'all just leave horse shit everywhere around the neighborhood.
That's how we mark our terrain,
Stop
man.
slobbering on me.
That's how we leave our mark.
But you're still a black man riding a half-ton animal through the hood. How are the cops not all up in your horse's butt?
You seen Harry Potter?
Yeah.
Yo, that's how it is with the horse. It's like putting on a cloak. Like, with the gangbangers and the police. Like,
so you just become invisible
yeah,
to all the bullshit.
all the bullshit. I was just about to say that.
Can I have some of the weed you smoking?
Yeah. I love to share, man.
Cowboy Lil Wayne is right. Even if you're riding with a buzz, it's not like your horse is gonna have a broken tail light, and the cops damn sure ain't searching that trunk. But horses don't just protect people on the outside. Turns out, they can heal you on the inside.
We're all traumatized, you know, from, seeing the shit that we see, people getting shot around you, people dying, and I can't even tell you how many conversations I've had with people who say, man, my horse saved me.
Kiara, the first cowgirl among the Compton Cowboys, is one of those people.
My little brother was killed to gang violence 4 years ago. Sometimes when I can't function or articulate my words and just really in a bad mood, and I just go to my horse, it's just that energy is just so peaceful.
It's clear that taking care of horses can have a life-changing effect. I needed to fire my therapist and stock up on oats. But what's the first step to creating this beautiful bond between man and horse?
First thing we gotta do is gotta clean the stalls. We gotta clean the poop up. You ready to clean the poop? You open the poop up, make sure they don't got no runs or worms. This right here is a good one. See how it's nice and solid, running through.
I'd rather get jumped by the Bloods than touch shit. Let's skip all this turd whispering. Time for this cowboy to saddle up. Yeehaw. Maybe the most popular activity on MLK Day is using his legacy to push your own agenda, and no one has done it in a more interesting fashion than this guy.
I believe that Gun Appreciation Day honors the legacy of Dr. King. And the truth is, I think Martin Luther King would agree with me, if he were alive today, that if African Americans had been given the right to keep and bear arms from day one of the country's founding, perhaps slavery might not have been a chapter in our history.
Okay, hold up. I'm pretty sure on Dr. King's list of priorities, giving slaves guns comes way below not having slaves in the first place. The logic makes no sense. This makes no sense. How would you do that? Like, do you think the slave owners would have just had a little chit-chat? Well, should we set them free? Oh, no, don't set them free. Let's make it interesting. Give them shotguns. Now, I will say this. If slaves did have guns, the movie Roots would have only been 15 minutes long. Your name is Toby, or whatever you want us to call you. Most White House employees have clear roles. Mike Pence is the vice president. Rick Perry, Secretary of Energy. Ben Carson is black. But what about Ivanka?
Special assistant to the president.
Special advisor to the president.
Presidential advisor.
Unpaid employee.
A trusted confidant.
Daughter-in-chief.
Daughter-in-chief.
Daughter-in-chief. Does that mean she outranks Blue Ivy? Yet, in spite of all those descriptions, we still don't know. When Ivanka goes into work in the morning, what happens next?
You are an advisor to the President of the United States. What do you advise your father on?
I advise my father on a plethora of things. So, he trusts me to be very candid with my opinions. I don't have a hidden agenda. I make it very clear where I stand on a certain issue. So I give him my open and candid feedback.
Here's some open and candid feedback. What? Amateur photographers have captured these still images purportedly showing Ivanka doing her job. Yet still, we are no closer to the truth. Is she the understudy to Melania? Like at a Broadway show? Is the White House planning to release a line of designer handbags? Did Ivanka Trump kill Omarosa? Who knows? But one top White House official alleges that Ivanka is doing things.
My daughter's created millions of jobs. I don't know if anyone knows that, but she's created millions of jobs.
What jobs?
What do you advise him in regards to his tweeting? You know, I try to stay out of politics.
You work in the White House. That's where all the politics happen. How you gonna say you not into politics when you work in the building with... Ivanka Trump often travels with known associate Jared Twiggy Boy Kushner. If you know anything about her whereabouts or what she actually does at work every day, please contact local authorities and then call me because I want that job.
We have a major story that is shaking California. And actually, you know what? For this story, I'm gonna need some help. Can we get let me think. Can we get Roy? Roy, can we get Roy to come and join me at the desk? Yeah, no, because Roy's got a great perspective. I just wanted to chat to you about Roy Jr.
What's up, man? What's happening?
I need some help with this next story.
Man, that's weird. You never needed help during the headlines.
No, but this one's different. It's a very big story, and I just need you to stay here. And let's roll the tape. Let's roll the tape.
Police in Southern California say an artist appears to have sketched the man who stole his money.
Detectives say this is a caricature of the suspect in a robbery at Riverside's Festival of Lights this month. The guy asked the artist to make the drawing. When it was done, the suspect grabbed a bag with about $500 in it and ran off. But he left the picture behind. Police posted it on Facebook with the message, "Do you recognize this caricature?" The message went on to say that the caricature is one of the suspect, but of course, there are exaggerated characteristics and features.
Okay.
I don't know.
Okay. So you're gonna do me like that? That's fine. So let me ask you something. When you asked me to wear a red hat to work today, it wasn't because you thought a red hat would look good on me in the holidays or whatever. It was a joke.
No, I also like the hat. I also like your hat, but also for the joke.
Are we done? Are we done? Can I go back?
Yeah, no, we're done. I just wanted to.
Okay, good. If we're
can
done.
we take a selfie real quick?
Look, I'm done. I got work to do, man.
It's fine. You look like that guy.
It's not me.
Everybody, don't be mad.
It's not me. Trevor, I've been following this Blackest Black story very closely. And I'm not the only one. A couple of store managers have been following it around too. Just to make sure. And I have to be honest, this ain't the Blackest Black.
Well, Roy, why would you say that?
Well, first off, look at what they named it. If you had a black and you knew it was the blackest of all the blacks, you wouldn't just call it the Blackest Black. You'd give it a cool name, like a cool black name, like T'Challa or Roy. Every other color gets its own name. Mahogany isn't called super red. Navy isn't called dark ass blue. You wouldn't call emerald greener than a mother. The Blackest Black, they don't even sound like a real thing. Sound like a slur Jussie Smollett made up. And then they called me the Blackest Black. And they beat me up and stole my sandwich. Also, Trevor, how can we know for sure it's the Blackest Black? They ain't tested it. Did it go to an HBCU? Does it go to church for 6 hours? Can it make real potato salad? You gonna call yourself the blackest, you gotta prove yourself.
Well, Roy, I think you're confused. This doesn't have anything to do with culture, all right? This is about applied science. It was just basically an experiment in physics. You saw that car BMW made.
Oh yeah, that car was pretty black. That car's so black, it's the only car that's prone to diabetes. Which is my point. I don't want a car that has to deal with the same systemic issues as me. That car's so black, even if it was self-driving, it'd get pulled over. Excuse me, car, I'm gonna need you to step out of the car.
Okay, Roy, I feel like you're taking this development a bit personally, man.
No, I'm not taking it personally. I'm taking it scientifically. These MIT nerds don't know shit about blackness. But if they want to come out with the Blackest Black, guess what? Two can play that game, because I've invented the whitest white. In fact, I got a picture of it right here. You might wanna cover your eyes. See this whitest white right here? Bam! That's the whitest white. Take that MIT. Hey kids, welcome to geography class. What's the capital of Mozambique? I don't know. Google that shit. I am going to teach you geography you won't learn in school but need to know. Like today's lesson, who hates who? That's something you gotta know. If your cab driver is Serbian, you can't be talking about that trip you took to Croatia. You're gonna get your ass thrown out on the street. So I'm gonna tell you who hates who around the globe, but I'm not gonna get into why, because I know I'll get one little thing wrong and then both of them gonna be mad at me, and I don't want Kyrgyzstan in my mentions. Yeah, there they go already. Okay, let's begin. Chinese and Japanese hate each other. Indians and Pakistanis can't stand each other. Vietnamese and Cambodians do not want to be in the same room at all. Turks and Armenians hate each other. Turks and Greeks also hate each other. Turks and Kurds, they hate each other too. Honestly, Turkey is the Nene Leaks of Europe. They always at the center of some shit. You got the Russians and the Chechenians, they always arguing, Hungarians and Roma, Dinka and the Nur, the Irish and the British, Scots and the British, English and the British. Honestly, that whole island hates itself. Ghana and Nigeria. Now, from what I understand about this beef, this one is mostly about rice. See, here's the thing. Nigerians think Ghanaian rice tastes like concrete, and Ghanaians think Nigerian rice is a bigger international crime than their email scams. Fortunately, centuries of colonialism have made both countries too poor to afford a nuke, so it don't really matter that much. Iranians and the Saudis, Saudis and the Houthis, Saudis and the Qataris, Saudis and the Israelis, although now they're becoming friends because they both hate the Iranians more. In a way, Iran is really bringing the Middle East together. You got the Sudan and South Sudan, North Korea and South Korea. Matter of fact, if there's two countries with the same name, they definitely hate each other. And then, of course, you've got the Israelis and the Palestinians. I said I'm not getting into it. God damn. All right, let's wrap this up. Last beef, America and everybody else. Yeah, that's right. I'm gonna give it to you straight, kids. Every other country hates us. They all hate us. Some of them we invaded, some of them we overthrew, most of them we bombed, some of them we saved from the Nazis, so I don't know why they mad. But it is what it is. The game is the game.
Yeah, I don't think of Boston as a racist city at all.
So how do you know?
I don't feel it. You know, it's just a gut feel. I don't feel like it's racist. I've just never encountered it.
Huh. The Spotlight says the city has a race problem. Why haven't these Bostonians seen it? The NAACP's Tanisha Sullivan has a theory.
The Spotlight gave us data to support what black people in and around this city already knew.
So if the data was news to you, you called the article the Spotlight article. But if you already knew about it, you just called it, that's what the I've been trying to tell y'all, article.
Because the racism is not as overt, it's difficult for people who don't experience it on a day-to-day basis to realize that it's there.
Ah, I get it. I've been asking the wrong people. If you want to know if Jurassic Park is safe, you don't ask the dinosaurs.
It's not as racist as it used to be, but there are some blatant problems.
A white person walks into a room in Boston, they don't have to think about that I'm the only white person here.
On a scale of Jazzy Jeff to Jeff Sessions, how uncomfortable is it for black people? Tell me when to stop. Come across. This is Jeff Sessions right here.
Stop.
Right there. So about, what's that, about 60, 70% comfortability. Not quite, hey boy, go home, but definitely
know
not.
Know your neighborhood, know where you are allowed, know where you're wanted.
I gotta say, Roy, this virus has everyone so stressed out. I mean, I'm keeping this can of disinfectant around to spray on everything. What else can we do to stay safe?
Stop with that. First of all, Trevor, don't panic. The most important thing to do is wash your hands. Just wash your hands and don't rush. You gotta wash them for at least the length of one verse of a Cardi B song. I wash their back, then wash their front, girl. I make healthy moves. And another thing, don't touch your face, because you can make yourself sick. And if you are sick, remember to stay at home.
just corona cough in my face?
Oh, that cough in your face, man. I just had some peanuts a minute ago. They stuck in my throat.
Okay, I'm watching you, Roy. Don't make me sick.
I'm good, man. Come on. As I was saying, it's important not to panic. Check on your elderly neighbors. Make sure. There's no need for concern. What you need to.
Ah, Corona! Corona!
It's peanuts! It's peanuts!
Get out of here!